The June 10th, 2014 meeting of the Tilton Planning Board. First case on our agenda tonight is Planning Board Case 14-01. This is a continuation for the site plan review proposal to remove the existing building and construct a 3,400 square foot retail office building with parking, stormwater treatment, and new sewage disposal system at 304 Laconia Road in the Resort Commercial District. And we have a letter on file, my correspondence, from Mr. Steve Smith saying, please accept this letter as our formal request to continue our site plan review to your July 2014 meeting of the Planning Board. We have reached a decision on redesign of the site to eliminate wetland buffer impacts and are currently working on a revised site plan. Any questions, please do not hesitate giving me a call. Sincerely, Stephen J. Smith is the agent for the applicant. So I will entertain a motion to continue the site plan review for 304 Laconia Road.
I'll make a motion to continue that there to July 14th.
July 2014, I'm not sure what date it is, but
July 2014 meeting.
Second.
all in favor? Aye. All
Discussion,
opposed?
discussion, I have a question. How many
Discussion.
times can they continue? Isn't there a limit?
I believe there's a time limit, not the number of times they can request it.
I don't
They
know.
can't keep continuing indefinitely.
Why not? I don't know. I mean, really it's, what, by submitting that letter, they're waiving their right to have a decision within 60 or 65 days. I mean, it's really more harm to, they're the ones being harmed by continuing.
I just seem to remember this coming up before in the past.
Yeah, I don't know if there's.
I thought there was a time limit, I'm not sure of
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
But my recollection tells me that there is a time limit. However, there's not a number of times limit.
Yeah, do you remember something about that?
Yeah.
So how long have they been continuing?
3 months
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, it's certainly, this is
It's a year.
the case is 1401, so it doesn't go back into 13 anyway.
No, the time limit, if I recall correctly, is like 2 years. It's not a short period of time.
Right.
Because as Dory said, they're the ones being penalized by it, not us.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? So be it. Other business is to review the May 27th, 2014 minutes. I believe you have a copy in front of you.
I found a couple of typographical errors. First page, right at it says planning board to seek a legal opinion form. Should that be from its attorney?
Yes.
Which,
Second to the last line
of the first paragraph? or-
of the last full paragraph.
Okay, great. Finally, yeah, sorry. Got it.
And then on the second page, the first paragraph, third line down has two T-O-T-O. I think we only need one.
Be enough.
Now, on the first line of the second page, it says for an abbreviated permitting process. Would that be permit process or would it be permitting?
I think either one could work, permitting, but permit, yeah, I don't know, don't care. Hey, do you want me to change it to permit process, the abbreviated permit process?
I don't think it makes any difference either.
That's it for me.
And by the way, I did get notified that Mr. Haberman would not be here this evening. And just for a point of clarification, if anybody's going to be absent, we really need to let Dari know, that's the normal procedure, to let Dari know that we'll be absent.
I think I did last time.
Yep, you did, indeed, definitely.
Any other corrections?
Yeah, I should make sure to pass it along to
Any discussion? Any motion?
Got nothing.
I'm,
I wasn't here, so I had to.
I wasn't
we have to, we both have to think.
Motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion. Did you make a motion?
That's corrected.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Stayed.
Okay, so we got three yeses and 2 abstains?
Yes.
All right.
Next is our correspondence, and this one, I have not had an opportunity to read, I just heard about it today, but I wanted to bring it to the planning board's attention since the Tilton School has been before us many times on their little project up at top of the hill. And I guess there was a complaint issued to DES. And I'm just going to read this letter so everybody will know what exactly they say. I haven't had it.
Question, project at the top of the hill?
Yes, they're converting a piece of property that they own. They tore down a house, the old Lawrence property. It was at the corner of Daniel Drive and Pillsbury. And they tore that down. They have filled, they erected a stone wall. They're going to put in, I guess, do more fill, and they'll put in a soccer field and eventually tennis courts.
So where is 30 School Street? Because that site is on Pillsbury Street.
I know, but it wraps around.
Well, I know what the property abuts, but the entrance to it is on Pillsbury
I
Street.
think the school is actually their address.
That's their address, it's.
That's the address of the Tilton School,
School,
period.
yes,
Okay.
that's what
So
that is.
they're not referencing the
No.
specific site.
No, but I do think that that particular site does wrap around and at some point touches.
Yes, it does,
School
but the
Street.
entrance to the site
Right.
on our records for 911,
Yeah.
that would be Pillsbury Street. Yeah. Yeah, it's been destroyed.
It says, well, the road has been very badly destroyed. It's a mess right now. On May 23rd, 2014, at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., personnel from the Department of Environmental Services, DES, conducted an inspection of the above referenced property, more specifically identified on Town of Tilton Tax Map U-7 as Lot 39 and 41, the property. The purpose of the inspection was to respond to a complaint that turbid water was entering the Winnisquam River and to determine compliance with permit conditions associated with alteration of terrain permit. During the 10 o'clock a.m. inspection, DES personnel observed the following. 1. The Winnipesaukee River in Tilton was running clear with no turbidity noted. A stream entering the Winnipesaukee River in the area of 179 East Main Street was walked upstream to where it flows under School Street via a box culvert. The stream was running clear. Number 2. The stream observed in 1 above originates from the Tilton School Pond. Adjacent to the pond to the south is a very large wetland complex. Immediately upslope to the wetland complex is the property. Construction had begun, although work was not ongoing at the time of the inspection. 3. Erosion controls, a silt fence, core logs were installed along the perimeter of the construction site. On the north side of the site, at the lowest point and immediately behind a retaining wall, pea stone and sediment had migrated off-site and into a wetland associated with the stream, outlet to Tilton School Pond. Erosion controls in this area were overburdened and in need of maintenance. And number 4, On the east side of the site, silk fence had not been trenched in, but was secured using core logs only. At 4:45 p.m. on May 23rd, 2014, DES received a subsequent complaint that turbid water was observed in the Winnipesaukee River. During the 6 p.m. inspection, DES personnel observed the following. Number 5, the stream where it enters the Winnipesaukee River in the vicinity of 179 East Main Street near the Tilton Police Station was running turbid. A sediment plume was observed within the Winnipesaukee River. Number 6, DES personnel observed the stream running turbid at the box culvert on School Street. As a result of the inspection and after review of file documents, DES has determined that Tilton School and RAD Sports have violated the following. And here are the violations. 1, violation of permit condition 1, which states activities shall not cause or contribute to any violation of the surface water quality standards established in Administrative Rule Environmental WQ 1700. 2, violation of RSA 482A:3 by filling wetlands with sediment without a permit from DES. Number 3, violation of New Hampshire Admin Rule 1506.04 by inadequately installing and maintaining silk fence. And 4, violation of permit condition number 3, which states you must notify the department in writing prior to the start of construction and upon completion of construction. In response, you are requested to take the following actions. Number 1, immediately reinstall and maintain erosion controls on the property where sediment is migrating into wetlands and surface waters. 2, submit monitoring reports prepared by a certified professional in erosion or sediment control, CPESC, or PE to DES once every week and within 24 hours of rainfall in excess of a half inch. Until otherwise notified to DES. Emailing monitoring reports to, and it gives the name of the person to send it to. DES personnel may conduct another inspection at a later date to determine whether you have come into and are maintaining full compliance with the applicable statute and rules. Issuance of this letter shall not preclude further enforcement by DES. Failure to comply with the above referenced regulations may result in further enforcement by DES, including but not limited to the issuance of fines, administrative orders, a referral to the New Hampshire Office of the Attorney General for imposition of civil penalties. If an order is issued to you, it may also be recorded with the County Registry of Deeds as an encumbrance against your property. Should you have any questions regarding this letter, please contact Linda Magoon. And it gives Linda's email address and telephone number.
Isn't it interesting when they noticed that those things had not been done, that the erosion controls are overburdened, that they didn't warn them before?
Yep.
Yeah.
They made note that obviously, construction was taking place, but
Yeah.
they weren't proactive at all.
Yeah, I wonder,
That doesn't, sorry. Just because they didn't say that, there was no conversation between the two inspections, doesn't mean there wasn't, right?
Well, if there wasn't, then they're not indicating that they had followed through with what they told them to do. I mean, at 10 a.m., they noted that the erosion controls were overburdened and needed maintenance.
Well, it's interesting that there were 2 complaints.
And then,
oh, so.
on the east side of the silt fence had not been trenched in. So then at 4:45, they receive another complaint
Yeah.
and determined that the reason that this took place was because,
Right, they didn't see the first.
right, the silt fence. So they saw it at 10 a.m., but
Yeah,
obviously
I
they
found
didn't tell them to correct it.
kind
They
of
can't
interesting.
imagine the Tilton School if told to correct that, but it said, nah.
I can't.
The only thing I can think of
Well,
is
they're
that was a
contracted.
Friday, Memorial Day Friday, so they may have not had a crew there on that day, as a long weekend.
That's possible, and it's also possible that
There's
they,
a crew there, because they hadn't started at 10 a.m., but by 4:45 they had.
well, it's possible they did not talk to anyone from Tilton School, but merely talked to the contractor too. That's a possibility. And rather than take it seriously, the contractor may have just said,
Oh, I don't know if there's a contractor on the state would take DES seriously if they're standing on their site. But, I just thought it was interesting.
you, would you like to comment on the lighting complaint?
Oh, actually, what I can say is, Tilton School, two representatives from the school came in today. I had a call yesterday. They want to do lighting on the athletic field that the planning board approved recently. And I looked back at the minutes just to see what exactly took place last time they were here. And it was very clear from the minutes that lighting on the field was not part of that proposal at that time.
What
So-
date are those minutes?
I don't know, I can get it for you. Yeah, it's, you were at the meeting. And,
I was at the
in
meeting.
fact, you were at the meeting too, yeah, it was a discussion that involved both of you where it was very clearly brought up that, the only lighting at that proposal was the parking lot lighting. So, when contacted by, someone from the school, I said, you will need to come, you almost certainly will need to come in for site plan review because you're doing lighting, which is, definitely an impact, and there's residences abutting you. So I said, you can come in for a conceptual if you don't agree that it should go straight to site plan review, but, and they said, no, we agree. It's an expansion of the use that we were approved for.
They didn't have that.
So they're gonna come in for site plan review. Most likely, they're gonna submit something by June 20th for the July, forget what it is, but, or the early July meeting.
Well, I had Dari bring that up because, I found it interesting that, even before Dari got anybody from the school got in contact with Dari, an abutter came in and complained. So.
About lighting?
Yeah, about the lighting they were going to
Future
install,
lighting.
yeah, the future lighting. The lighting they were getting ready to install.
Yeah.
I
And I said to Dari, when they came into the planning board, we talked about lighting, we talked about the concerns of it, being very visible to the abutters and, actually lighting their property, and we were told, oh, no, and we were told no lighting would be done because they couldn't afford it at that point in time, so. But I found it interesting that in many cases, we have abutters who know things before
Yeah, right.
before anybody ever approaches us, so just still a piece of information.
Yeah.
The next two things are driveway permits. One is for a piece of property on Caleb Hill Road. It's approximately 3/10 miles north of Clark Street. It's on the west side of Caleb Hill. And it authorizes a gravel access to be used as a 2 single-family residential shared drive. Any change in use increases in the use require reapplication. I believe, and I,
Is that the property across from Pat Clark that used to belong to Sullivan?
either that, I'm not sure it's that far up. That's what was, I didn't think it was quite that far up, and maybe it is.
Isn't it across the yellow house that's for sale right now? I live on Cable, so I go by there.
Well, there's all the houses.
It used to
Mike
be- he used to
Robinson's
rent
is
the
what,
house.
the last house on the left,
Yeah.
and then there's.
His is right across from Pat Clark, Mike's is.
No. There's that Sullivan property
Okay, maybe that's where it is
that
then.
washes down to the road every spring.
Okay.
It's a subdivision.
Which is where Manning Jr. lives, I believe, doesn't he? I think so. The long driveway that goes way back. Well, anyway, they put in a driveway permit, so,
Well,
a request for a driveway permit.
They're
And it's-
requiring
and
him to
it's-
put a culvert in?
And it is granted. Okay.
They granted it? They usually seek our opinion.
Well, it says permission is hereby granted to construct or alter a driveway. It's not really to construct, it's to alter it. For entrance, exit, or approach adjoining Caleb Hill.
May I see it? Oh, you're right.
You pull up a map there,
Where is it?
just see where it is instead of like Sullivan's, Bob's house.
She does
So,
map.
map a lot, map 16, 11-1 and 11-2, two residences. So,
I think they're changing it so that, I think
usually
they're
they
widening
send
it.
us a notice that an application has been received.
Yeah, after that, Tilton, not Tilton, the, Tanger outlet malls, remember there was that question that came up and you
Yeah.
asked me to kind of follow up on it? And I called, our regional DOT shed, the number was on
Health
there.
District 3, Mark
Yes,
Morrow.
okay. Well, there are two guys who issue these, and he said, basically the guy I was talking to was saying, well, anytime we're looking at a driveway permit application, I had always assumed there's some co-occurrent application into your planning board because there's development. I'm like, I don't know, I didn't know how to respond. I was kind of like, let me think about that
Yeah.
one. But yeah, and so that's kind of the mindset that particular person is going forward with. And then he said, the ones that he sends out are already pretty much, he doesn't even send out a notice unless he's already kind of put it through its paces and he's ready to issue an approval.
Yeah, that's the Sullivan subdivision. But wait till he hears from me.
Yeah, I mean, I potentially, if we want, if the planning board wants more involvement and more opportunity to chime in on these before they're issued an approval, then, we need to have some sort of conversation with one or two people over at the
The problem
district
with
shed.
this is Caleb Hill Road. Right now it's a state road. The selectmen have currently gone into an agreement with DOT to do a 2/3, 1/3 road project. This can become our road. So they're giving them permission to put in these two driveways. My question is, any culverts required? Because we have a lot of problem with that former Sullivan subdivision. The water just sheds right down across the road. We have a huge ice buildup there
Well, maybe,
because there's no drainage.
See, I didn't think it was up that far, Catherine.
Yeah, he just showed it to me.
It is, that's what
Yeah,
grade
that's the
is.
Sullivan subdivision. So you wait till I call them tomorrow. They're gonna be
Well,
real
well,
on
they
that.
do.
2080 isn't taking place to 2016, or 2016.
Here's Caleb. Here's Clark going up. And there's these two lots back here. So,
What do you
It's
do?
246 on right up before you
are
turn.
you near the main? Are you near the main? So then-
Neighbors are on one side, fire is at the same
This is
lot.
how-
Well, we have 22 acres, so that's one of the long ones.
Next is the, permission's been granted to construct, to alter a driveway entrance, exit, or approach adjoining Silver Lake Road. This is owned by Vicky Jensen, 46 Ridge Road.
Where's the property?
46 Ridge Road?
Well, that's the owner.
Oh.
It's,
Property.
the property's adjoining Silver Lake Road, location approximately,
I think that's the former Dawson property.
it's east of Brook Road and the north side of Silver Lake Road.
Is there a tax map?
I'm looking. R10, lot 35.
This one a little smaller.
vacant land on Silver Lake Road.
Yeah, this is Brook Road.
This permit authorizes
Former
a
Nelson
gravel,
Road.
a gravel
Lot.
access to be used as a
There's
single-family residential drive.
There's already an apron there. When they did Silver Lake Road, they put in the approach, so it's already there.
Okay,
This is really letting them know that they're gonna start using it. But there again, they're requiring them to put in any culvert.
How far from Carroll Drive is it? Because it loops around, it's
It loops
around.
around, this
36.
is wetlands, there's the post office.
So, they don't hear it.
that's where one of our selectmen lives.
But this property backs up against it right there.
The right-of-way line is located 25 feet from and parallel to the center line of the highway. The entrance shall be graded so that the surface of the drive drops 10 inches at a point 20 feet from Silver Lake Road. Edge of pavements to create a drainage swale. Driveway shall not exceed 16 feet in width. The entrance of the drive may be flared. Typically, the flare radius is 1/2 the driveway width.
That flare's already there,
This permit
Sounds
requires that a paved apron
that's
be
it.
constructed from the edge of the highway pavement 10 feet into the site. You're saying the apron's already there?
The apron's there, but it's not 10 feet.
What would you say it is? It's a lot of.
Close, maybe 6. Doesn't go beyond the sideline.
So that's that. The next one is for approval of construction for a septic. I believe this is in Vista Heights. And Mr. LaPlante has approved it. Who? Al?
The new fire chief.
Oh.
Merge.
Mike Sitter.
Chief? What is
It's
this?
125 Vista Heights. Do you guys know where Vista Heights is?
It's up on Lancaster.
No.
Well, it's off of
132.
132, and
Salmon Road.
it's not far up.
Yeah.
It's on your, if you're going up the hill from the X20 area,
It's right
it's on your
across
right.
From, it's kind of across from, they're doing that rebuild of that old house
Mm.
that used to have that giant
They
boat.
just got sold. That house did, I guess.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. That's what, when I picked one of the women up, and we go to the senior center every Tuesday, and that's what she was telling me today.
Or was it flip?
I don't know.
I've been watching them work. It's just gangbusters on their house.
All right, and that's the correspondence. What do you guys go, one,
Chairman Alden,
yes?
just, I did speak with Jason Stock a few hours ago, so I
Okay.
can, yeah,
Okay,
whatever he thinks appropriate,
all right.
share that.
Let me just get all this.
Sure, yeah,
correspondence
sorry.
done. Now, okay, the next is other business. The fun part of this is I get to read Dory's writing and my own, and I'm not quite sure which is worse or better. The first thing I wanted to address was something that was in our notes, and that was the legal opinion, and went before the Board of Selectmen, and they said we already had a legal opinion, it wasn't necessary to expend money. However, one of the suggestions was made was that we come up with a list of questions, and then we call, I'm still the old mindset of LGC, that's not, what is it now?
I still call it a
Well,
septic.
what
That's
is it,
why.
New Hampshire Municipal Association?
Yeah.
No,
That
right.
we call them with additional questions, okay? So that was, they felt it wasn't necessary to expend any money because we did have a legal opinion, and that legal opinion was good enough. The next thing is the Main Street meeting, and if you go back to the notes, one of the last things was to
We were gonna have a meeting June 10th, and it got postponed to fall.
yeah. But one of the things that was suggested is that we start a survey. Judy suggested that we start a survey, which I thought was a very good idea to, give to. So, I would say that in our next workshop session, we'll work on that survey, if everybody's agreeable to that.
Yes.
Because I think that's important that we get moving on that, because we did have that meeting, and
Why is the planning board taking it on themselves to improve the situation for those particular businesses?
well, we had a meeting on signage,
Yes, I
And,
remember that, nothing came of it.
and nothing came of it, except that we did make commitments that we would follow through on some of the things. And one of the things that we wanted to follow through on is what we can do on Main Street to attract more people to the Main Street area.
It's been kind of out of the realm.
Well, there's no organization that's doing it now, and we did hold a meeting on the signage. That started last year. Eric, do you want to address that? You were shared at the time when the whole thing started.
Yeah, I mean,
I know when it started.
we,
It's been going on since the new signing ordinance was put into effect. We've had multiple meetings, the selectmen have had meetings, and it all comes back to the signage. But it started when
Right.
Main Street disbanded.
Exactly. And there's still outstanding money there that we need to see about too, so.
And they're gonna distribute that.
who's gonna distribute that to town?
Main Street, it's not the town's money,
Oh.
that changed a few years ago.
Where are they distributing it?
Some of it is gonna go, well, they're not gonna give money to the park commissioners, but they're going to build sides to the pavilion for the winter event. I can't remember there's two other places they're gonna give it.
They have to be 501Cs. They can only give it to 501Cs.
I don't know. It's, Vince Paratori and Billy Lawrence.
They signed an agreement with the Attorney General saying that when that money, if the Main Street program disbanded, which they have, that money could only go to 501C organizations.
I don't know. It's their money. I don't. And the town gave it to them, or paid their portion of it, that's, and then the law
I'll
changed.
follow up on that, that's really not the planning board issue anyway, but I don't think that building sides is a 501C project, because it's the town of Tilton, and that's not a 501C.
No, we're municipal.
Yeah. Okay. Did you bring a copy of that picture for the master plan?
No, I emailed it electronically. I think it's, that's not it, is it?
No.
Glasses.
I can print it.
Want to print?
You want
Yeah,
to print it?
sure.
Juliet came up with one. I liked it a lot. I think you liked it, didn't you, Dari?
Definitely.
Juliet liked it, and I said, well, let's bring it to the planning board and see how they like it. It was not a picture I had seen before.
No, so it's not around here somewhere. It's a Library of Congress, I guess, been sketches. It should be printed out.
Wait a minute, when did you send it?
Oh, a while ago.
Yeah,
From
quite
your
a while
regular
ago.
email?
What's that?
From your regular email?
Yeah, the Gmail.
It's for a Gmail account.
Oh,
I
here we go.
can try to send it
I
again.
got it. Nope,
Okay.
I got it.
along with the master
So-
plan,
Oh,
what?
that was just, go ahead.
No, along with the master plan, I talked with Kathy Mitchell, and she has done the updates and reviewed them with the Conservation Commission on the forestry chapter. So I'm going to have Dory email all of you what those they're not major changes, they're fairly minor changes, so that we can approve those and put those into the master plan.
So doing a survey, would be in line with, you know, capital improvements programs, correct? Doing a survey of
No.
Main Street.
Capital improvement programs are for the town of Tilton, not for outside entities, not associated with the town of Tilton.
Well, Main Street, doing something on Main Street would be town of Tilton.
We don't own anything on Main Street.
Well, it says here,
We don't own the sidewalks, and we don't own so
Well,
many
we own
feet
the
out to the
sidewalk.
street. Well, I mean, what we would be doing would involve doing some things possibly on the sidewalks, like putting certain kinds of signs there.
So isn't that just revisiting the signage ordinance? Because you can't put signs there unless you revisit the signage ordinance.
I'm just looking at the master plan preparation, states, preparing, revising, or amending the master plan. Planning board may make surveys and studies, may review data about the existing conditions, demand, best design methods, prevents walls of.
All right, well, I like this a lot,
This is all Tilton,
so.
back in 1884.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, this is
Isn't
on,
that neat?
this is on one of our annual reports.
Oh, it is,
Oh, it is?
but it's, there's no print hung up anywhere, right? Like a large one?
This was, Tim has this.
Oh, okay, so
It might be, is it in Cindy's office? This is somewhere. I love this picture.
I think it would be great for the master plan
Is this
cover.
the bird's eye view one? This is the bird's eye view one, isn't it?
it's like a bird.
I think this is the bird's eye view. My only complaint is predominantly Northfield. But I love the picture. It's, it really shows the agriculture.
Well, at that time, didn't Charles
See the lack of forest?
Tilton want Northfield and Tilton to come together?
Well, that's why I put the arch there.
Yeah.
But that, it's called Northfields because it was the northern fields of Canterbury. And of course, when they became Northfield, they said, if you will keep your arch, keep your town out of Northfield. Yeah, it's a great picture.
I thought it was good. I don't know.
Well, I can't remember, it was in the annual report.
Do you think that would be a good one for the master plan cover?
That's good for me, I didn't even know it had Northfield in it.
Or show you what it looks like on the cover of the annual.
It's a great picture.
You like it?
I love old pictures.
I do too. That's what.
Wouldn't it be great if we, actually, wouldn't it be great if we had one, this one, and then now?
Yeah,
Because you could get pretty close to the same place.
well, I
You'd have
started to kind of draw it, I took this and
Ever so
I
many, ever so many.
sort of superimposed
Yeah,
some
what farms
things on
back.
it, like train depot and all that.
They periodically would fly over and do stuff.
So, I mean, this is really looks really odd.
Can you fit it then in now or not?
Well, I mean, yeah, I was kind of plunking things
Oh,
down, like the
Well,
park
you
and-
could, but I just,
Kind of put
Cool.
this really shows the park in a different perspective, doesn't it?
And all the factories are there.
I just love the picture, so I don't know. I'm not the one making the decision, we have to come to some consensus about what we wanna put on the cover. Like, if people could continue to bring in things to put on. Do you have a copy of those pictures you did? I didn't bring it with me, but I have your phone.
I don't know.
Could you
Actually,
send those to other people?
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
whole disc of,
Yeah.
that's a great picture, but there's a whole disc of pictures. of town
Okay,
pictures. I
well,
like
we have
one
to
of the
wait till we
railroad
approve
guy.
the forestry chapter anyway, so. All right, moving right along. Logging. Dari did talk to Jason. Well, it's interesting, and let me put this before I turn it over to Dari. I had one of the selectmen in Sanborn stop by my house the other night, and we were just talking about things in general, and the issue of logging came up. He was saying about people doing so much logging, because I live on School Street, and they're just doing it all over School Street. And the comment was made that there's some real issues in Sanborn, to the point that Sanborn has had to take some pretty stringent rules and set some pretty stringent rules and regulations because I guess loggers have gone in private roads and have completely ruined them, have gone back through people's property and left almost ditches from their logging trucks. So they've now started sending, they're not doing what we are beforehand in terms of, you know, being looked at from an administrative point by Dari and Al after an intent to cut is, but they are in terms of what's happening to the roads out there. And, you know, so I thought that was very interesting.
How can the town regulate what happens to a private road, private property?
They can
That's
regulate.
civil.
They can regulate the loggers in terms of what they do. Well, they're doing it, so I don't know how they're doing it. And,
Now they truly are violating that.
well, I'm sure they have their planner, I believe, is working on it with the state, but I don't know the details of it. But you talked to Jason,
Yeah.
you wanna share that?
Yeah, he would be open and in fact would like to come in and meet with the board, and I think it's a good idea. He brought up some really good points, and I think,
You wanna tell them who Jason is?
oh, yeah, Jason Stock is the, I think it's the president, I don't know what the exact term is, but he's the head of the New Hampshire Timberland Owners Association. And I've had the opportunity to work with him in the past, and he's very bright, and I think he gets it in terms of what we're trying to accomplish as a board. He brought up some interesting points. I think one big one is that if you look at how Tilton defines the area of jurisdiction on this whole thing, it's the 100-foot buffer. And in reality, that's not how it's being enforced. It's being enforced, I mean, the question we've been asking, and I'm just as guilty, if not more guilty than anyone else, of sort of not noticing that detail. Are they going through a stream? If they are, then it kicks in. In reality, the way it's written, are they anywhere near the 100-foot buffer? And that's certainly not, I mean, I don't want to, I would think that's not the intent. I mean, that would pretty much put it that, I mean, think of how many logging operations would come under this now, require a conditional use permit. So if someone wants to cut down some trees 100 feet, you know, it's 90 feet away from a small brook, that the intent of this sort, certainly I would think, is not to have that come in. So that's a very good point. That's something, I think he's right in saying that that needs to be cleared up. Another thing that came up is that when you know, I said it's really important to the town not to completely let go of this. And in talking, it reminded me of a point that I made in the past to Joyce, is that there still is a mechanism for the town to be involved, even if this weren't in here, because the town receives a copy of that DES permit. So the town could use that, the town could also use the notice of intent to cut as a trigger. So we've now put a policy in place when that notice of intent to cut comes in, a bunch of people in town are notified. So if, once the town's notified through the intent to cut and then notified again through the DES permit, the town does have an opportunity to kind of monitor that logging operation. And in fact, in reality, the conditional use permit that comes out of the planning board, if granted, is very likely to contain conditions requiring that the logger follow best management practices of the state, do use wetland appropriate crossings, and these are all the same conditions that are in the DES permit. So I guess if it turns out that it is shaky legal ground to even have it in there, and if it turns out that it comes out of the zoning ordinance altogether, there's still a very viable opportunity for the town to monitor these types of operations. So those were two main points, but I think having Jason come in here, someone who, yes, indeed, he's looking out for the interests of the loggers, but I think, again, he understands what we're trying to accomplish as a board, and it might be a very constructive work session that gets us well along the way to getting that ordinance the way we want it to look.
I think that would be a good idea. I don't know how the rest of you feel.
I'd be glad to hear what he has to say.
All right.
The reason I kept asking Dari, I was practically driving Dari crazy. I would ask him every time I talked to him or saw him, did you call Jason yet? Did you call Jason yet? Is because one of the loggers who came in here threw Jason's name up to Dari. And Dari has worked with him in the past and had a good relationship, so I thought it would be appropriate to call and find out, exactly why it was important to them. And I think another thing important to remember is what the attorney told us, the local government attorney told us, and that was, which I thought from the very beginning, that the whole purpose of the RSA, saying the town had to stay out of it, was to protect the individual landowner who wanted to go out and cut a couple of trees down. It was not designed to say we could not in some way involve ourselves in a logging operation, a commercial logging operation.
Actually, it's the opposite. The court case law will tell you that it's because municipalities tried to regulate loggers.
Oh, that wasn't what the LGC
That,
said.
it's in case law. All you have to do is look it up in the red book and
I
you'll see
will.
the case law sitting there. But what it is, well, it's like, for example, the logging operation on Manville Road. Not a logging operation, they clear cut. And that's property owner's right. But municipality that has tree huggers for elected officials say, wait a minute, okay, you want to come in here and clear cut? No. You're gonna leave this wild cherry tree, and you're gonna leave this, American chestnut tree, 'cause it's an endangered species, and you're not gonna touch any of those. That's regulating logging. But,
Well,
That's not what we're
clearly
doing.
the permit that we have has nothing to do with that. It has to do with wetlands as opposed to saying what trees they can and they can't cut.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's an entirely different situation, but.
no, one's related to the other because that's why they're saying we can't regulate wetlands.
Okay, anybody got anything else?
I would maybe just, Catherine brought up the point of is a Main Street sort of initiative within the purview. That's something the planning board really has involvement with. And a thought I had on that is that the planning board has sort of the administrative tasks of processing applications and really dealing with what comes before it. But there is a proactive role for the planning board. And if you look, like, the planning board is sort of the bearer of the master plan. And the planning board, I think, rightfully has some role in trying to make that master plan live and actually come to fruition within the community. So I guess, it's a really good question, and it's something that should always, it's something the planning board needs to maybe ask itself every time it considers taking on a project, but I think that, you know, a vibrant Main Street provides for public health, where people are maybe walking more than they would in a more, you know, like in a strip mall or type setting. There's a lot more just jumping in the car and going from spot to spot. And it maybe generates a little more sense of community, which is, and I think these are, I don't know the Tilton's master plan cover to cover by any means, but I think there may be some opportunity if the planning board takes on a project like this to do it in a way that advances the master plan. But I think, you know, I just wanted to sort of throw that.
Which I think is what Jules was basically bringing up that when reading
Well,
the
she brought
master
up the
plan.
capital improvements program, but that's definitely just municipal.
Well, it says, master plan preparation, in preparation for reviewing the master plan, you can review, take surveys, people have charrettes sometimes, where they listen to all different kinds of opinions to try to get a sense of where they want the town to go. It's very broad in here, anyway. So,
Any other business? Short meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Was that St. George's second?
Nope. Yes.
You coming with me?
He looked up when I said no.
When's Judy getting back from Denmark?
I don't know.
what's she doing in Denmark?
Took a dog, was she bringing the dog back?
Bringing what? A Danish
Yeah.
dog?
No, it's a, let me see if I can get this right. Nova Scotia trolling.